All right, all right. Welcome back. We are about to engage in the New World. This is from 2005, starring Colin Farrell as Captain Smith, Christopher Plummer as Captain Newport. Yeah, this is going to be interesting because um, you know how I am about historical pieces. Let's go ahead and get it started. As you know, the KOSMI link, you guys are probably still already in KOSMI, but if you're just showing up now, go ahead and click on that KOSMI link. I'm going to go ahead and get it started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. I have no doubt that since this is a PG-13 film, it is very likely cleaned up a little bit from what would be historically accurate because, yeah, because Pocahontas, when they first meet her, she'd have been running around topless. And I'm guessing they're not going to actually show that in this film. Not for a PG-13 film. And also, depending on when she's narrating this, she wouldn't have been speaking English. She'd have been speaking town.
Troy knows his history.
But one could make the argument that she's narrating this later in life, perhaps. I don't know. Okay, this I didn't know. Apparently, Powhatan is went extinct as a language in the 18th century. So any native speaking done in this film is actually Algonquin, which is
a suburb of Illinois.
Well, it is, but it's also they were native to Canada, so it's unlikely. I think that the language would have gotten this far south to Virginia. Oh, I guess there was a Virginian Algonquin dialect. By the way, welcome Samuel Proctor. We need more movies about the original Thanksgiving. I've been listening to the Plymouth Plantation by Governor Bradford. There's a lot there to adapt. Yeah, and I did have originally on the schedule for today Squanto, A Warrior's Tale. That is a Disney film, so I'm not certain about the historical veracity of it, but I was unable to find it online, so I've ordered it. It won't come until December. I will definitely be planning it for next year.
Yeah.
This is why you want to own physical media. Because when you need it and you don't have it, you're out of luck.
Plus, if they decide to change something, as Disney does,
Well, that's a good point.
you
Yeah.
have the actual original, like Song of the South. They decided to change that or just not have it anymore.
Yeah.
Gone with the Wind, they changed part of that. It's like, no, that's not history. You can't change history because you don't like it.
I mean, when you think about it, look at it from the point of view of the natives, right? Seeing a ship like these, you know, that they've never seen anything like that before. That's got to be pretty awe-inspiring.
Well, also like in Blake 7, when Blake saw the automobile for the first time, he's like, what is that contraption?
Yeah, exactly.
They'd never seen one.
Right. I mean, let's face it, they understand the concept of boats, but something that big with sails, that's pretty damn impressive. I guess so.
It is a pretty area, though.
I wonder if this was actually filmed in the Virginia area. Let me see. Yep. It was filmed on the Chickahominy River, Virginia. Yeah. Okay, guys, I got to get the turkey in the oven, so I'm going to leave Netter to hang out with you guys.
Yep,
You never saw this one either, Pops, huh?
I've never seen this one.
I bet there's some legends about a mysterious and powerful people coming from the sea by this point. It's been a century since Columbus's voyage. Oh, yeah, good point. Really curious about your thoughts to give this a watch or not. And hey, Christoph, happy Thanksgiving to you. The Vagrancy Horror is in.
I suppose if I actually want to hear the movie, I should put in my earbud.
Yep. All right, I'll be back.
Okay.
Keep this in
Oh,
case
I
it
just
allows me
realized
to
I don't
listen.
have the KOSMI link pinned to the top of my chat, so I'm going to make sure I do that. In case anyone who comes in. Get there first. There we go. KOSMI link. Pasting that in. And pinning to the top of the chat. There we go. I know the paint is supposed to be meaningful, but I'm wondering if the haircut is also like has a specific meaning or it's just a stylized choice. That looks like fun playtime. I'm a deer. Mating ritual? I hope there aren't any creatures hiding in that tall grass. Yes, there is a lady standing in the tall grass. Ew. Yeah, food's going to go bad if you don't store it properly. Like, what the heck, dude? Well, starting someplace new is always going to be a challenge. Oh, wait. I don't know why I'm hearing Troy sound. His earbud must be out of range. Okay, I captured his earbud, so the extra sound should stop.
Is it taken care of?
No, wait, yes, it seems to be.
Are you hearing it in your ear?
I'm hearing it in my ear.
Then you're fine.
That's the problem with the earbuds. If you get out of range, it'll disconnect, and then you hear sound over the computers. Those massive trees in the water. You don't really expect them to be able to take root. You expect them to like fall over because, well, they're trees and they're in a lot of water. Okay, yeah, there's some dead trees because, I don't know, too much water? It's not like they wouldn't be getting sunshine. That is a really pretty area. I mean, they definitely would have food available. I saw birds flying. They would have fish. Just the planting them would take a long time. So in other words, they're not going to steal from these guys. Some freaked them out. Yeah, they can't put much more weight in that boat before it'll start taking on water. And if there's any snakes or crocs around that's also good eating. And I would say those are probably warnings. And you just lost your Indian. If you know how to track, you'll be able to find him. There it is, trudging through water in metal. That's gonna rust. I'm not sure what he's afraid of. I guess it would be that. Okay, so that's his compass, which apparently they've never seen one before. It's like, what's this dude? What kind of clothing is that? It's like, okay, the hair's real. You know, they got a sword. I'm not sure if they have his pistol or if he lost it in the water. It's like, would you just let the guy walk already? We found this thing in the river. And he doesn't understand a single word that they're going to be speaking. And the guy's acting like a translator, but I seriously doubt he understands English. So maybe they do understand English. They just don't speak it. That guy had a snake around his ear.
I put the thing on 450. I don't know if that's right or not. And now it cooks.
So they just captured the white guy, and he's like, you know, I got things that you might be interested in. He threw some gunpowder in the flames, and now I guess they want to kill him, but she's protecting him.
Okay, Pocahontas was a preteen when she first met Captain Smith.
So spare his life. Why? She doesn't know him. Oh, now they got subtitles for what they're saying.
Okay. Okay, Christoph, that actually sounds really cool. The Pilgrims and the Wampanoag and the war they fought against the Wendigos from the north. Okay, that would be good. Would probably unfortunately end up being a Blumhouse thing.
Mm.
Um, Samuel Proctor, that's pretty spot on. Lots of early English colonists went to colonize despite the enormous risk, since England was pretty overpopulated at the time. Land was a super elite thing to have. Yeah. Let's face it, it still is. It's still only the nobility that own land. You don't actually own land in England, as I understand it. You can own a house, but the land is owned by whoever the local noble is. At least the Virginia Company and the ones around it, less so with Plymouth and Salem. Yeah, they all did it differently.
Well, the tattoos I know wouldn't be unfamiliar to them because a lot of them are tattooed.
Mm-hmm.
Banana leaves?
Not bananas.
Oh, maybe tobacco?
Probably, yeah, it's tobacco. Because they wouldn't have bananas in Virginia.
Well, I won't know that. I'm not from that time.
And John says, getting ready to head out for the day. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much. 5 months a member.
They put this on your forehead. It's like interesting tattoos.
Yeah, he's trying to understand the meaning.
So he gets to live among their people and learn things. At first, I thought that guy was super pale until I realized it's paint.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's probably not even paint. It's probably just mud.
Well, yeah.
And when it dries, that's what it looks like. Actually, not a bad idea to protect you from the sun.
True. I burn easy.
Yes, you do. And so, yeah, I totally understand why they would age up Pocahontas because, like I said, she was a preteen when she met Smith.
And it
But,
would be creepy otherwise.
yeah. And they got married when she was about 17 or 18. Okay, she's picking up the language pretty quick. John Smith had an already adventurous life before the Virginia Company. He served in the 80 Years' War, then helped fight the Ottoman Empire and became a slave to them, killed his master, and escaped.
So he's teaching her English, and I guess she's teaching him her language. Unless you talk about the earring. They got to teach him how to fish and hunt too.
PJ.
She has an innocence about her, and that's um, what's so appealing.
Yeah.
The childlike wonder, you know. Of course, he hasn't shaved in a while, so now he's growing a beard and all.
Yeah, I get what he's doing. He's making fun of the English. Yes, hail again, Connie.
Were those shells?
Yeah. Probably oyster shells, but I didn't see them closely.
They look like oyster shells to me, or clam shells. Until I saw the ripples, I thought that we were looking up.
Welcome, Nate. Yeah, I had just been saying that a little bit ago. Yeah, there's no evidence that the real John Smith and Pocahontas had any romance. She was a great intermediary between the tribes and colonists and provided food. Yeah, I mean, there may not be evidence of it, but oral tradition is not nothing. So that's what they're going with.
And this chick will nap anywhere.
I mean, it is fair, right, Samuel? I mean, you don't save somebody's life and then they never have any kind of relationship at all after that, especially if they were continually in proximity of each other.
Well, he's not one of you, but he's trying.
I'll be right back. I think I have that heat too high.
Okay. And she likes the sunbeams. I mean, I'm guessing that's why she keeps putting her hands up towards the sun like that. Oh, little baby. Well, those look like pretty sturdy structures. Yeah, they didn't have CPR back then. So I guess that was their version of CPR. It's like you saved one of our own, so now you're one of us. Yeah, you do realize the first time he goes into the water, all that's going to come off. Nope, she's giving him her feather. Whatever that means. She gave him her feather.
Is that a euphemism of some kind?
I don't know. He ran his hand on her arm, and then she gave him her feather from her hair. And then they just kind of had a tender moment of putting their heads together.
Well, that's sweet, I guess.
I guess this is courtship because they keep holding hands and all that. He had saved one of the children from drowning.
Uh-huh.
They brought him onto shore and he, I guess, did a version of CPR where he was rubbing the kid's chest, and he sat up, started spitting water, and it's like, you saved our child,
Yeah.
you know. Okay, let me know next time you need me.
All right. Did you thank Nate for the $5 super chat? It's on your channel.
Yeah, I was busy watching the film. See, that's the problem with these. It's like you get so involved in watching the film that
yes, I know it's a lot of work, especially when you also have to run around and do stuff and whatnot.
Thank you, Nate, for the $5 super chat. Bonjour, Netters and Troy, all my friends. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, sweetie. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there who is celebrating today. I know not everyone does, but for those who do.
Especially all you Anglos on the other side of the pond there. Canada's is the second Monday. I want to say second Monday in October, so it was last month. Let me double check that. Yeah, it was October 14th. Oh, okay. Yeah, you'd already gotten it. I was on another screen looking it up myself.
I put the other pie out in the garage for the coldness.
Okay. I never had time to make mine. I was too busy setting up streams. This part makes me think of Columbus's writings, where he was awed by the first few native tribes he saw. He described the place as the Garden of Eden. People buck naked in seeming harmony. Sure, when you took one tribe at a time, as long as you didn't end up, you know, in opposition to them, you know, it's, I'm sure that's true, but they didn't get along with each other very well, at least before the cannabis and the conflicts later on. Oh, cannibals. Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. There is this sense that, you know, all Native Americans were all the same and they all lived in peace and harmony until the white man came and oppressed them. It's like, there was a couple of tribes that were like that, but there were some that were pretty terrible. They were as different as the other nations in the world. Did you bring food? Did you bring food? Did you bring food? Yeah, and that kind of speaks to human nature, right? I mean, this is what's important to remember about history. People throughout history are not too dissimilar from the people of today. They believe what they want to believe. They, have their preconceived notions. They project just like we do. Hmm, that is an excellent point, Nate. Hmm. Hey, when you're hungry, the one that can get you food looks like the leader to you. What's he going to do with it? He's going to try to lift it. I got to admit, that's a pretty impressive fort. I mean, yep, that's leadership. You got two guys arguing over what day of the year it is when there's work to be done. In 1607, we sailed the open sea for glory and for gold and for the Virginia Company. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, eating their belts and their shoes. This is another aspect of history that people forget. You know, I remember being taught in school about, you know, the the pilgrims coming to the new world, uh, you know, despite the dangers, uh, for the hope of a new life because of the oppression that they had received in the old world. And when you really start digging into the history, you realize how true that was. So many starved to death, died of diseases. But to hear it today, oh, the white man came to this country and, you know, slaughtered all the natives and, you know, blah blah blah, and it's not really how it went. It's getting cold. How you guys doing? Nothing changes, right? Why haven't you called? When reading Governor Bradford's writings, I was surprised to hear of their starvation. What I was surprised by was Bradford's passionate denouncement of their communistic system that caused it. Wow, interesting. Kind of hinted at here, right? Which is why Smith quotes scripture and says, if a man will not work, a man will not eat. I mean, that's actually a precept that goes back to the very first story in Genesis. You know, uh, survived by the toil of his brow and so forth. And now winter gives way to spring. I'm going into town to visit the market. Well, that's a hard question to answer. I feel like there should be a Disney song right around here. I mean, there are some liberties taken with this film, but this is, you got to admit, this is way more historically accurate than the Disney's Pocahontas. Yeah, it is a logical extrapolation, but there was really nothing that prevent the Romeo and Juliet is tragic because it's a romance where the two sides are being kept apart. There was really nothing that would keep them apart if they wanted to be together. See, here's another problem I have with Disney's Pocahontas. Whereas Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, even that the whole thing with Tiana and the frog and all that. All of these characters are fictional characters. They're based on folklore, and you can argue how much they may be similar to or deviate from the folklore, but it's fiction at the end of the day, and it's perfectly okay to take liberties with it. These were real people with a real story and a real history. And if you deviate from that, you are lying. Yeah, I had a real problem with the whole concept behind Disney's Pocahontas. She isn't a fairy tale for you to co-opt. You know, they like to talk about cultural appropriation. The making of that movie is literally cultural appropriation. I mean, even well, Moana is based on folklore, myth, right? Um, what was the one the Chinese one that they remade live action? Mulan. Even that's mythological. But Pocahontas is the one that's about real people. See, this is why historians get so annoyed at stuff like this, right? I mean, I can understand the concept of historic fiction. This is why I give a lot of grace to something like this, right? There's nothing that said they did or they didn't have this kind of a romantic relationship. You know, it's speculative, right? You can't prove it one way or the other. They're not outright lying. They're, you know, whatever. But to completely change historic details, that's a huge problem. Um, and yeah, the Shakespeare is reasonable. I mean, uh, Julius Kaiser, had a very specific history. Um, I'm sure a lot of lies. I don't remember the play, so I don't remember what may have been true and may not have been true. A lot of times, quotes that are um, assumed to be by certain people throughout history. There may be no evidence they ever said such things. It's usually from some sort of historic fiction. I mean, this is even true with like Benjamin Franklin, who We know a lot of the things he actually did say, things he actually wrote down and can be quoted to him. But at the same time, there's some things that are said to have been said by Benjamin Franklin. There's just no evidence of it. Well, this is pretty brutal, but probably pretty accurate. See, they didn't focus on it too much, but there is an element of this kind of warfare that I always found interesting. So, the colonials' missile weapons were the muskets, right? And if the natives had been using missile weapons, they would have been spears and arrows. An arrow, you even someone who's not terribly adept could reload an arrow multiple times a second, at least twice a second, if he's quick. Musketeer is going to take, if he's really skilled, at least 45 seconds or more to reload his musket. Cortez's spirit is looking at this battle with embarrassment. Yeah, yeah, that did not go well. I mean, I guess it's times like that where you really find out how tough that wall was you built. I have to admit, I haven't seen 1492, although I do have it up on my shelf. Probably watch that next year for Columbus Day. So I was kind of thumbing through some of the, you know, uh, the goofs and the historical inaccuracies and stuff that are listed in IMDb, and it gets pretty pedantic over there, even for me. It cites as one of the mistakes in quotes that what's his name here, Colin. I always get his name wrong. Let me make sure I don't say it right. Colin Farrell. He's speaking with an Irish accent, and he would have had a British accent. And I'm like, you know what? When you can't even get the the when you're substituting in a whole Indian dialect because the language that they would have spoken is a dead language. Let's not quibble too much over the accent of English he's speaking. Oh yeah, the musketeer armor is cool. The other thing is that armor is appropriate to its time and the weapons that would be used against it. If you're a musketeer, you're trying to armor yourself with a musket in mind, right? If it could deflect lead shot, it should probably be good against a spear or an arrow. Not necessarily, but should help. Just had an idea. You know who would probably had a much easier time repelling the Indians? The Romans. Their whole military system was made to repel and attack tribesmen. Yeah, but even then they had to have the right military leaders. I'm going to grab you a video you might actually be interested in. Alternate History Hub had one last week. What if the Romans conquered Germany? It's very interesting. Yeah, exactly right. Because there would have been similar issues, right? The terrain and so forth. And if you had a leader who was a particularly idiotic fool, you know, oh, happy Thanksgiving, Clue. Yeah, too late. I'm already fat. Oh, don't get fat. Yeah, well, still too late. I'm already fat. Yes, we did Charlie Brown first thing. Ugh. Ugh. Apparently, she was ill. Pneumonia and tuberculosis are probably the the leading theories behind what she may have died from. Looks like history buffs got their video up of talking about Gladiator 2. I'll be interested to hear that one. I didn't realize that. I must have missed those. I will definitely check them out. See, these are the people whose historical commentaries I respect. I already wasn't going to watch it even if it were good. Gladiator is one of those films that only needs to be one. Yeah.
I gotta wait for paint to dry. You can't make gold, you gotta mine for it. So now they're being invaded by other.
No, he's going back to England, which I'm a little confused by because the king never recalled Smith. Smith went back to England because of gunpowder injury.
Oh.
Wait a minute, what's that?
Yeah, I like that. If they all live in peace and harmony, why they need warriors?
Troy's yawning. Well, yeah, I actually stayed up a little too late last night. Beyond the Threshold, Twin Peaks. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not in a position to see the comments from KOSMI real clear.
Let's see. I see Troy warning glare side look LOL from Charlotte. Then Beyond the Threshold Twin Peaks LOL.
Yawning, not warning.
Yawning, yeah.
No, I didn't even know there was a Pocahontas 2. I'm not surprised. There was also something I read about, the particular plants that they were walking through there that weren't in Virginia at the time. They were brought over from England. It's like, you're going to get that pedantic. I mean, you're going to go and tear up all the plants that weren't indigenous to the area just to get a shot. That's crazy.
Are they married yet?
No, I don't think they ever did get married. As we were actually talking about in the chat earlier, there's no real historic evidence they had a romance at all. Okay, that's interesting because that really is the case. After he left, they did tell her that he was dead, but I don't think it was a lie, and it certainly wasn't pre-planned sort of thing. I think a lot of people did think that Captain Smith died after he left because he was leaving wounded to convalesce back in England. They thought he wasn't going to make it. So to say, he died, they thought they were telling her the truth. Yeah, but what I was talking about earlier, Charlotte, I pointed out that even though there's no historic evidence, it is a reasonable theory, right? Because there's really nothing written down that says what their relationship was after she saved his life. And the fact is that they lived in the colony together for a couple of years anyway. They had communication with each other. It seems very unlikely they didn't have any kind of relationship whatsoever, at least a friendship. Someone doesn't save your life and then you never speak to them again. And, push comes to shove, I think this is way more historically accurate than the Disney Pocahontas. So I'm happy with this.
So they just told her he died during the crossing. They drowned.
Well, that's because that's what he told them to tell her, at least in this film. Like I said, they told her that he died in the crossing, but I think they really believed that because, as I said, historically, he had suffered a gunpowder burn really bad. Okay, this is all a bit melodramatic.
Well, she's grieving.
Yeah, I know.
So are they kicking her out of the little village or something?
No, she's going to be going back to England because the Virginia Company, part of the mission of the Virginia Company was to convert the natives to Christianity. And if they could bring a native back to England and show that they could be civilized, it was a social experiment.
So let's just destroy everything they built. Jerks.
Happy Thanksgiving, Space Fraggle. Good to see ya. Hope
The
you're having
other
fun
Troy.
today.
Our other Troy.
Yep.
A proposal. It's like you're going to give me some water? That's kind of you.
It's Batman.
Was she really, or she's just thinking that she is?
I'm not certain. I mean, in this story, yes. But I mean, she was captured. Um, they're not being really. I mean, there was a bit more war than what was shown here, so they kind of glossed over some details. She wasn't cast out; she was captured.
I guess the birds are telling her, don't eat the mushroom. Although those are white mushrooms, which probably aren't poisonous. It's like, hey, are you watching my hands? I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Oh, they've probably never seen plants like this. Grasshopper. So now she's over her grief and she's going to hook up with this guy?
No.
They don't talk much, do they?
He doesn't.
Hmm.
So you guys are about to eat. Want to stop in for a bit? It's always. Yes, it is. You are always welcome here, my friend. It's really hard for us to feed you, though. Can't get the food through the microphone.
So they burnt down the buildings that the Indians built to build buildings elsewhere. It's like you already
No,
had
it's part of the. It was part of the war
Oh.
between the Virginia Company and the natives. They're just driving them out.
she's learning about this gardening. She has really pretty hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so this must be John Rolfe.
And what, he's teaching her how to read, or he's teaching her the Bible? I mean, that looks like a Bible.
Possibly both.
So what's a minute?
Well, there's a good question.
Well, green is land, blue is ocean.
And welcome, Lady Mist.
Hello, Lady Mist. And I'm throwing out a general hi, sweetie, to everyone out there. See, now, if he had a timepiece, he can show her on the timepiece, this is an hour, this is a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, so he lost his family?
Yeah.
They just changed her name?
Well, as one does when you're baptized, you get a name.
Moo. Why are they burying fish? They're not going to grow fish.
No, it's fertilizer.
Oh.
It's actually a very good fertilizer. Now, I'm actually surprised they're planting the whole fish. Usually you just plant the heads because you've eaten the rest.
Yeah, it seems kind of wasteful.
Actually had some tails too, I suppose.
So she moved location, so she's working these tobacco fields?
She's actually become part of the colony now.
But he said something about she accepted my invitation to work in the fields. The others are sorry to see her go. Like, she's not anywhere around them anymore.
You take another job and you move to the other side of town, you know.
I think it's interesting how they built those kind of gussets in the armpits so that you can actually raise your arms up
Oh, yeah.
without any strain. I'm going to guess that Smith comes back because they're supposed to get married.
No, they don't.
No? Oh, I thought they did.
No. No, she believes him dead. They never see each other again, as far as I know.
Well, that's kind of sad. That would be like if I never saw you again.
No, she ends up marrying Rolf.
No. Oh, that wool's got to be hot if it's warm outside.
Depends on how tight a weave it is.
She's trying to catch the butterflies.
I don't know. 400-year spoiler alert, Troy. Yeah. Yeah, I tend to do that with history.
Oh, spoil?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like when we went to see the Passion of the Christ and the guy was like, no spoilers, no spoilers. Dude, 2,000 years. Everybody knows the story. There are no spoilers.
Yeah, it's like, it's the Bible?
Gotham City.
Like, but does she want to forget her life in that place?
No. This was in person when we saw it in the theater, Samuel. And no, he was serious. Either that or he was really dedicating himself to the bit, but no,
Oh yeah, he actually stuck his fingers in his ears and was going la 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 la. Don't spoil it, don't spoil it.
it's like, you know,
It's the Bible,
it's
dude.
like
You know,
spoiling
right?
Titanic. Guess what? The ship sinks. I know, right?
She doesn't look happy. Yeah, that's what they always say.
Yeah, well, she's only got about 3 or 4 years to get to love you. Okay, I need to check where we're at because I still have another over 36 minutes, which means I miscalculated the time on this.
Oops. Well,
All right, I'm going to have to change the times on all of these.
so he actually has to write a letter saying, "I love this girl and I want to marry her." No, she's not white. She's an Indian, but I want to marry her.
I guess so, yeah.
And winter is upon them. I'm going to guess that that's some sort of ritual welcoming the day.
I suppose. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to change all of these times now.
Oh, it's muddy and she got stuck. and he lost his shoe. That does not look comfortable. She's like laying on the picnic table. And wait for her to roll right out of that bed. Chickens! No, she a little one. Man, her kid grew up fast.
Yeah, they're extending her life significantly.
I would be hoping also that she would teach the child her, her heritage way as well as the English way. She was 18 when she had her child, Nate says.
She made it to England, and I think she died on the way back.
Eskimos? Oh, that's the first dude.
Yep. Yeah, Smith.
Yeah, those are some rough waters. And she's like, he's not dead?
Okay.
So they seriously got her wearing corsets now.
Well, that was the style at the time.
It's like, you told me he died. They gave each other their hearts. You don't need somebody else to decree it happened.
Yeah, well, pretty sure that didn't actually happen.
Aren't they supposed to go to England anyway to see the Queen?
King. Yes. London of 1616. Yeah, it's got to be pretty amazing.
Okay, so the older Brit lady is the nanny now. Why are they all like kind of bowing to her? She's not a princess or royalty or anything.
I mean, in a way, she is a princess.
Not to them.
Well,
Maybe because she's married to the rich guy.
I'm not sure that he's nobility, though.
He might be a lord.
I don't think he was, though.
Well, it looks like they're in a royal carriage, so They are men in tights.
I guess.
And she's still displaying her kindness.
Yep.
Let us wear the fanciest frou-frou outfits we can.
Right.
Oh, in this case, it's a woman, so it's okay for her to be fancy frou-frou. That's the Indian chick.
Yep. Based on an actual painting of her, or maybe it was just an illustration.
I noticed that she didn't kiss his ring. It was just kind of like, kissing that?
I don't think she knew the tradition. I want to fly like an eagle.
Okay, those are beautiful. The paintings on the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
But somebody taught her she needed to bow halfway, and before she reaches the throne, she had to bow again. Oh, it's a raccoon. Those are weird-looking trees.
Very, very well manicured.
And grass is never really that green. You know, being that windy, it's got to be cold. A strange new world.
Yeah, right.
So I guess he's going to be going back. But I do really like her outfit. Okay, bathroom break.
Yep. And last.
Is this the husband or Smith?
Don't know. They both have long hair.
And beards.
Yes. Okay. Change. Unfortunately, in changing all the times of the streams, I also had to change all the thumbnails as well. Okay. Yeah, none of that ever happened, Nate. Except she's a much better actress. She actually shows emotion. This part is also historical speculation. She did learn he was alive in England, but we don't have any evidence of them meeting again, though Smith did write to the Queen to have her treated well. And this whole bit of her coming back to Rolf is necessary because we know they didn't split up or anything like that. Okay, what the? That's about right. Okay, I have real problems with her wearing that dress into the water. I understand the reason for it, narratively speaking, but no, protect the dress. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it from a, in quotes, religious freedom point of view and what that meant to them. There would have been an evangelical mandate, right? If they realized that the natives could be converted, they would have felt that they actually had to go and colonize the new world. As a with the impetus being to bring the word of God to the natives. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. Hadn't thought about that before. Uh, Drive message. Get this shared out. 39. There we go. Discord. And there you go. Okay. So that wasn't a bad film. I mean, a little bit of poetic license, but it's like they were aware of what they were taking liberties with, and had to always steer it back so that things kind of stayed on track. Not bad. Yeah, yeah, I liked it too. Nate says I had to bring God to the godless. Yeah, yeah, that would be the mandate for an evangelical. So sure, there you go. That's pretty cool. Well, as you know, we're going to roll this right over to the next feature. So if you're in well, I mean, regardless of whether you're here or in Netters, it's going to take you to the next stream and stay in KOSMI because that's where we'll be showing it. So Thanks so much, and see you on the other side.